All right, our final speaker today is Richard Homsani, I should beg your pardon, who is the executive chairman of Toro Energy. So Toro is in the interesting position of having a fabulous project at Wailuna, but in a jurisdiction that at the moment bans uranium mines. So clearly the shares are not reflecting the full value of what this potential project could be, given that it can't be brought to market. But I'm sure Richard will have some views about if and when those bans get removed. It seems it seems that we're out of step with the rest of the world if we are sitting on uranium resources that the world is clearly wanting to use. We've had all the conversations today about the world going nuclear. So, our expectation is that those, whether it takes a change of government or not, that ban on mining uranium in WA will be removed, and this Wailuna project looks extremely interesting. So, Richard, let's go over to you and take us through the Toro Energy and Wailuna story. Are you online, Richard? You might be on mute.
Can you hear me now, Andrew?
Yes, got you, Richard.
Okay, great. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and thanks Shaw and Partners for inviting us. So look, your comments are correct, Andrew. We're an interesting company. Our valuation certainly seems to be copying a steep discount because we're on the wrong side of Australia. And we're not in Canada or Africa, because if we were in Canada or Africa, I think our valuation would be significantly higher from where we are today. There's our disclaimer. So you can see my screen, just confirming. Okay, so what does Toro have? We have a basket of uranium projects in Western Australia. Our flagship project is the Wailuna Uranium Project, 700 kilometres northeast of Perth, where we have 62.7 million pounds of U3O8 and 68 million pounds of vanadium pentoxide. This uranium project comprises of 3 deposits: Lake Way, Centipede Millipede, and Lake Maitland. So 3 deposits. It has undergone state and federal environmental assessment and was permitted as recently as January 2017. We also have on our uranium tenure significant gold and nickel prospectivity. We've got some excellent ore grade nickel hits and some excellent gold results. We will probably demerge this company pretty soon, demerge these assets from the company pretty soon. So Toro shareholders can look forward to receiving an in-specie distribution of shares in that new company. We also, outside of the Wailuna project, have 28 million pounds of uranium resource across 3 projects, and there's significant exploration upside on those projects, which are all located in WA. We also have a 15% joint venture interest in Namibia with JOGMEC and DPLO. In terms of our corporate snapshot, you can see our valuation is pretty low. We've got a healthy cash balance, certainly well funded to undertake the work streams that we want to take, so we have no constraints there for a significant amount of time. Our primary use of funds will be for the pilot plant program this year. Our board and management are significant, have significant experience in uranium. Myself, Richard, and Greg, we have over 20 years' experience in uranium, either executive or non-executive responsibilities. Michelle Marier has 9, almost 10 years of uranium experience. So we've been in this game for a long time. So as a company, we've got 91 million pounds of U3O8, a significant vanadium byproduct. The vanadium does not make or break the economics of our uranium project. Because our mineral is in a metavanadate, our vanadium now leaches out with the ion exchange process along with the uranium. So we're getting the vanadium whether we like it or not. Important point to note is that we do have environmental permits. I'll just correct you on one thing, Andrew. There is no ban per se. There's no legislative or legal ban on uranium in WA. It's just that the current government will use policy to delay and frustrate you from receiving your approvals. But in essence, we do have a legal permit. We do need to amend one condition, a time condition at least. But a very important point to note is, and the title of my presentation is Wiluna, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. So the existing permit is for a version of Wiluna, which we think is not our optimal version. In fact, we don't think it's anywhere near our optimal version. So what we've been doing in the 7 years since we received the state permit before the government changed is work on optimizing the project, in particular, looking at our metallurgical flow sheet. We found that Lake Maitland, so Wiluna is made up of Lake Maitland, Lake Way, and Centipede Millipede. We found that those optimization opportunities that we spent money and time on over the last 7 years work best at Lake Maitland, because Lake Maitland also has a joint venture option with a Japanese syndicate, a syndicate made up of 3 nuclear power companies and Itochu, the reputable, well-known global trader. Because they have an option to JV in that project for 35% and giving us a check for almost 40 million US to exercise that option, we thought it was best to run Lake Maitland as a standalone. We did. So we took into account all those optimization, all that optimization work, and came up with a recut NPV pre-tax for the project of 610 million, with a 2.5-year payback and a stunning all-in sustaining cost of $28 a pound US over the life of the project. Because most of our peers are now starting to quote uranium resources at 100 ppm, we're going through that exercise now. So at Lakeway and Centipede Millipede, at 100 ppm, we get an extra 8 million pounds. We're able to quote an additional 8 million pounds of U3O8 and roughly the same amount, 8 million pounds in vanadium pentoxide. So now that we're funded, we are very focused on advancing our project to production as far as possible in this current regulatory environment. Albeit the Labor Party currently in power and enjoy a strong advantage from the last election, we don't see their stance as being a hard and fast stance as it might have been, say, 18 months ago under the previous Premier. So we will work adjacent to policy settings. We will try and initiate a DFS at the earliest possible opportunity after our piloting this year. We think we'll enjoy more cost reductions as a result. We've got some excellent work streams that will announce that the result of which should be available in the short to medium term. So any new investors or existing shareholders should enjoy some good news flow coming up. We also note that Lake Maitland has a significant high-grade component in the first 7 years. So you get a lot of money from Lake Maitland and in the first 7 years, noting that, again, Lake Maitland is only one of 3 uranium deposits that make up Wiluna. So we've got plenty of upside. The best version of Wiluna is still yet to come. I won't go through the uranium sector or the uranium market. Everyone knows that we're in an environment that is going to be strong, and the prices are going to be higher for much, much longer in this cycle. So Lakeway, Millipede, Centipede, and Lake Maitland, there's a map there. You can see Lake Maitland's to the southeast. So we do have a very strong NPV at Lake Maitland standalone. We also have a very reputable joint venture partner there that can assist us with financing the project when the time is right. Lake Maitland previously, we were only going to mine the red on that map you see, but with the optimization work we've done, we've unlocked a massive transformational increase in value where we can mine the red and the green on that map to get an additional 8 million pounds of U3O8, increase the mine life by 70% to 17.5 years. We have annual uranium production of 1.3 million pounds, and this is all out of Lake Maitland only. Remember, we've got 2 other deposits where we could be mining either concurrently or after Lake Maitland for decades. So there's a significant vanadium byproduct as well that we can sell. And this is all underpinned by a $70 U3O8 price and a 70-cent exchange rate. So we are going to recut the numbers for Lake Maitland, and we're going to get a stunning post-tax, not pre-tax, post-tax number for Lake Maitland and Lake Maitland only. So at the moment, it's 610 million. We think we're going to get a significant boost when we republish those numbers. Furthermore, the capex is only 189 million US, and that includes 20% contingency and 15% EPCM. So with the optimization work that we've undertaken that led to an improved processing flow sheet, the whole project has high environmental value now. It's a much lower footprint, produces less benign tails, and also everything is smaller. So the power consumption is smaller. The reagent consumption is smaller. This is all as a result of the R&D work we did in the bearish times for uranium. Beneficiation has given us a super graded product at about 3.5 times the product, 3.5 times the volume, sorry. And once you beneficiate and you remove the clay and you deslime it, what you're left with is material that is capable of being filtered, which means that you can drive off the salts. So you get rid of the chloride, all of a sudden you can use ion exchange. And ion exchange works perfectly to liberate the uranium and the vanadium separately. Reagent costs, because you've got rid of most of the salts and the chlorides, means that your reagent consumption is down, your power consumption is down, your leach tanks reduce in size. Everything becomes a lot simpler. So I want to emphasize that the best version of Wiluna is yet to come. The current permitted project, we have the processing plant at Centipede, Millipede, but we think that if we're going to do a combined operation, it should be at Lake Maitland. The processing plant should be at Lake Maitland. We have ore-grade nickel results, which I won't labour on. We will demerge these assets, as well as we're in gold country, prolific gold mining district. There are excellent gold results that will go into, we think, a demerged company. So I'm just trying to keep track of time. So what are the near-term catalysts for us? Again, one of 3 deposits. We've got a 600 million pre-tax NPV of Lake Maitland only. We are going to recut the numbers for Lake Maitland at a more realistic or more current, more contemporary uranium price exchange rate. We're going to factor in a modest or we're going to be conservative and factor in a increase for the costs as well, even though we're pretty confident costing hasn't really gone up as much as we're going to allow for. We're also looking at a whole of Wiluna study. Let's see how much material or analogous material is available at Centipede, Millipede, and at Lake Way that we can truck down to a Lake Maitland processing operation. So we think there's 2 good financial outcomes there: a recut Lake Maitland with a massive jump in NPV, and also a whole of Wiluna. If we truck, like I said, the analogous materials from those other deposits to Lake Maitland, how much of a boost in NPV can we get from those additional materials? Our pilot plan work will run for most of the year. And hopefully in 12 months' time or less than that, we will know what our best version of Wiluna is. So again, 91 million pounds of uranium, 68 million pounds of vanadium in a strong uranium market. But unfortunately, we are in a state that presently is saying that uranium mining will not be allowed. However, our Premier made these comments 4 months ago, where decarbonising other economies is on his agenda at the expense of decarbonising his own. So we all know the pivotal role uranium plays in decarbonisation. So if you listen closely, and having spoken to government over the years on and off the record, we're very optimistic here that not only will a change in government policy come from a change in government, that's a given. The opposition here is going to allow you to mine uranium, but we're pretty confident that within Labor, they're positioning themselves for a change in policy. It's one thing to say no to uranium when it's $19 a pound spot price or even $40 a pound. But when uranium breaks through $100 a pound and will probably reach closer to $150 a pound U3O8 during the course of this year than $125 a pound U3O8, very hard for a government to deny an industry that can provide billions of dollars to the economy, and also very hard to deny an industry at a time when its nickel industry is suffering and its lithium industry has copped a shock to the system. So nothing can be taken for granted. So putting that artificial handbrake on your economy is just bad business. And I think that will prove it to be the case during the course of this year. So look, I'm happy to end the presentation there. Just know we've done everything at $70 a pound U3O8. When we recut everything at current numbers, the upside for Toro Energy is immense. It's got a very low valuation. It's got a strong cash balance for what we want to do. We're very aspirational, and there will be significant news flow coming up in the short term. We've got an excellent potential JV partner that will probably look at all of Wiluna now, given the current bifurcation that's emerged in the supply of uranium market. So we're very happy at Toro. We're very excited, enthusiastic, and confident. And thank you all for your time today.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, terrific. So thanks for correcting me on the. It's not a ban. It's just it's an effective ban, though. It's
correct.
Policy won't allow it, and hopefully we do see some rationality start to come into the politics around all this, and that would be an enormous day for you guys. I would imagine on the market when that policy setting is changed. One quick question for you in terms of what you can control. The updated scoping study for the Maitland project. What's your timing of when you think you might release that?
We think it should come out in a matter of 4 to 6 weeks. It's significantly advanced, so it's picking the right combination as your base case. But we'll, like you saw today from my peers, we'll probably give you, the investor or potential investor, a suite of metrics. You work out what you think the number or numbers on price and exchange rate should be. We'll factor in a conservative increase in costs, and you'll find that the numbers will blow your mind anyway.
Yeah,
and that's just one of 3 deposits. Like, we've got another 2 to work on and bring to the market at the right time, deliver those set of numbers.
Yeah, terrific. Look, nothing's going to blow my mind, Richard, in the uranium space. You're speaking to one of the big bulls in the sector. We published an upgraded forecast earlier this year for those who hadn't seen it, where we're expecting to see the spot uranium price at least get to $150 a pound by the end of next year. And I'm very confident we'll see those sort of numbers and maybe even higher. And it's going to be not just a spike this time. It looks like it's going to be an elevated price environment for quite a period of time to incentivize projects like yours into the market. So thank you so much for sharing those insights with us. With that, that's our last speaker, and thank you everyone who's stuck around for the whole session. It's been a fascinating morning and afternoon listening to a range of very interesting speakers on the macro on the uranium market with Treva and John and Per early in the morning, and then a series of CEOs at various stages of development, from explorers through to just coming into first production, and very exciting times for all investors in the uranium industry. If anyone is looking for some recommendations, please reach out to your Shaw and Partners advisors, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction. So call that to a close. Thanks everyone for your time, and we'll see you at our next uranium conference. Bye-bye.